All right. All
Yeah.
right. Guess what, y'all? We are live. We are live. I know you're ready for this live. I have a special guest. You're going to enjoy Hope Boyd. She is a YouTube sensation. She is a superstar. She have over 388,000 views. I want you to hear because I watch her videos all the time. She talks about marriage. She talks about adulting. She also talks about hair. I'm bald headed. I don't have a lot of hair, but I still watch her videos because she's intellectual. She's smart. She's relatable. She believes in Christ. Her foundation is in Christ. And she's going to add value to this channel. We're going to be talking about tonight adulting, marriage, and narcissism. Hope, how are you?
Hey, thank you so much for having me. That was a great introduction. I'm trying to live up to it now, but thank you so much.
Yes, yes. I'm so glad that you are here. You also consider you my friend. I've been knowing you for a short time, but we met at a murder case.
We were on jury duty together. Absolutely.
Yes, we was on jury duty. I feel like I was getting picked on. They asked me too many questions, and
They
then I
did.
was the first one they called. And then you was shocked. You was like, "How did they choose me? I was trying to stay in the background."
Listen, I did not even answer correctly. So I don't know how I got chosen, but here we are.
Yes, yes. Well, thank you for joining me tonight. I'm gonna put
No
all of your
problem.
social media information in the description. So if you're
Oh, thank
watching
you.
this, I want you to go to Hope's page. Hope said it. I'm telling you, you're gonna be blessed. We're gonna talk about it and we're gonna dive right in. All of you that's watching right now, as you know, you're always watching my channel for the narcissistic information. You want to know about the gaslighting. Why do they gaslight? Why they're lying to me? Why they're manipulative? Why they're hurtful? What's going on with this narcissism? And we want to talk about narcissism tonight. We're also going to talk about marriage, healthy marriage. I'm going to be interviewing Hope, asking her some questions, and it's going to be a great dialogue. And one question I'm going to talk about is keeping that marriage spicy for all of the single people who are always talking about us married couples that we're boring and we don't keep it spicy. But Hope, before I start asking you questions, I know that you have been married for about 11 years. Am I correct?
Yes, it's going to be 11 years this December.
Okay, so you got engaged when you was 25 and you
Yes.
married to around about when you was 26 years old.
Yes.
You met your husband in college, right?
I did. I met him in college, freshman year. So, I mean, we didn't even date in college, but we didn't date when we first met, but I met him. We were really good friends. And then maybe a year and a half later, we started dating. So, I mean, our foundation is just being friends.
That is so key. And you have three amazing boys that's
I
on your
do.
YouTube with you.
They make cameos every once in a while. They're 9, 6, and 4. So they are something else.
And your husband, he's on the live with you as well. He's on your YouTube as well. You guys have some
Yes,
YouTube
he hates
starts.
being on camera, but he loves me, so he'll do it if I need if I need it.
Excellent. Let's jump right into it.
For sure.
Uh, how do you keep your marriage healthy, Hope?
Okay, so like I alluded to before, I mean, we're just friends. We are literally best friends. And I know some people say, "Oh, you shouldn't tell him everything and this and that and this." That's not how I do. Like, we're literally friends. We talk about anything. And for us, not even the physical connection, emotionally, we're very connected. So we literally can be fulfilled by just sitting there and, having alone time, being away from the kids and just talking about our day or about, "Oh, did you see this in the news?" Or "What do you think about this?" Or "What if this happened?" So that's really what keeps us healthy. Having a healthy, open line of communication, and trust is everything. I can literally, I don't have to go through his phone. He doesn't care what I'm doing, who I'm talking to, because he knows I'm his and he's mine. So that's not ever an issue.
That is so awesome. As you know, Hope, so many people struggle with that,
Mhm.
especially that connection part, right?
Yeah.
Because in the beginning, I think for any relationship, it's exciting, it's new, it's fresh, you're dating, you're going
Oh, for
out,
sure.
but then you get married and you have kids and you may feel like you're stuck, you're in a rut, you're with your roommate. If it gets like that, what do you do to keep that connection? I know you guys are connected and bonded, but what are some things that you do, somebody may be watching that they can benefit from to help them to keep that connection in their marriage?
Yeah, I had a video about this, so now I'm trying to remember my tips. I was like, if you're in a marriage rut, no, the first thing is acknowledging it, because the thing is sometimes it's a hamster wheel, and you're just going and going, and you're in and out, and you don't care, and you're frustrated internally, but you're really not saying anything externally, and that's kind of where you could maybe start having a work wife or a work husband and kind of separate that way. But if you literally just sit down and say, hey, this is not it, we're like roommates right now, and work towards it and say, okay, yeah, we are. What are we going to do? And the best thing you can do, I mean, just take 30 minutes, an hour, whatever, at night, whenever you guys are free, do something. Just go alone, go to a restaurant, get some ice cream, something to where you're connected, because you need that emotional connection. Obviously, you have the physical connection, but you really need to get back on the same page, because especially when you add kids, that's a lot. Like, our days are very busy with our 3 boys, and we have to check ourselves and be like, we're doing everything for these kids. This marriage needs to connect too. And I think sometimes because we're so bonded, we neglect our marriage. We're just like, we'll be here, we're fine. But no, we're intentionally trying to be like, you know what? We take care of the boys and they're fine. We need to take care of our marriage as well. So every other week or so, we'll take time for ourselves and just do something, anything, just to get out of the house, relax, and just realize that we're still a couple.
That's really key. And Hope, I've been watching you on Instagram. I've been watching you on YouTube, hearing you talk. One of the things that I've noticed, you don't do just one thing. You're a mom, you're a
Oh,
friend, you're a wife, you work, you have a degree in broadcasting and journalism. Am I correct? And
broadcast communications, yes.
I've noticed that you do multiple things. You're a multitasker. You don't try to do everything all at once. You do things in parts. And I see in our society, sometimes we go all in on one thing and burn out on our marriage. Has that ever been the case at some point in your marriage? Because I know you dated your husband for about 5 years before you guys got married, right? Have you
Yeah.
ever felt burnt out in your marriage at any point where you say, you know what, I'm just tired. I don't mean to be neglectful. I don't mean to be burnt out, but I'm just burnt out.
I think not necessarily in marriage alone, but yes, I think because we got married and then 3 months later, I was pregnant. So we got married in December. I had my first kid the next December. So it was just a lot going on in a short period of time. And then 3 years later, I had the second one. 2 years later, I had the third one. So there was like 10 years where we were like, what is life? What are we doing? So it wasn't necessarily a burnout of marriage. It was a burnout of just adulting. We were like, my goodness, we got to pay these bills and these bills, and these kids cost money. So it was realizing that our marriage has been so complex because we added the children to it. But
Yes.
we that's when we, just take time to realize, okay, we're still a couple though. First, we're a couple, and then we have kids. And that's kind of how we've been going from here on out.
That's really key. I love how you made that very clear and you brought that inside out, because I feel like at one point in my marriage, I've been married 16 years. I thought that my wife was giving more time to the kids
Oh
than she
yeah,
was giving to me. She like,
I
are
get
you
it.
jealous? Are you jealous? And she know my dynamic where I didn't have a mom in my life. My grandmother adopted me and raised me. My
Yes.
mom had personal issues. She had kids when she was young. She had 6 kids. My dad had his own personal issues with drugs, likewise with my mom. So she understands that I shared this, I've never received one birthday gift from my mom. I've never received one birthday gift from my dad or a Christmas present
Wow.
or anything. And I'm not
Wow.
saying that as in a negative way, and I'm not
Right.
trying to paint a negative picture of my parents, but I want to say as a child, that affected me. And
Of
I was
course.
having issues as an adult.
Hmm.
And my wife brought that to light. She said, are you jealous because your mom did? I said, no, I'm not jealous. I just feel like we are not giving that attention to ourselves. And Hope, one thing I didn't realize, my wife was depressed after she had these kids because she was trying to figure out life because she was a stay-at-home mom. I was working.
Yeah.
I was getting all the attention and accolades and praise. She was kind of being overlooked by the outsider. She just had her own thing and she was tired all the time. And I was like, why are you so tired? And you said it, just burnt out on life.
You are like I agree with her because I did that too. When I had my kid, I was like, I'm gonna be the best mom and be there for him and this and that, and then it's just a lot. Having a baby is a lot. And then that does something to your, self-esteem. You see your body afterwards and you're like, well, what is this?
Yes,
This
yes,
is
yes,
not what I
yes.
had before. So it takes a while to feel normal again. And you put everything inside of your kids and your husband's there, yes, but then you're relying on this little person's relying on you. So there's just a lot of dynamics going on. And sometimes it's a resentment to the husband because it's like, you can't do anything. You don't wake up at night. You can't feed the baby. You can't
Yes.
do anything. So I'm working all this hard. You're getting your good sleep. Congratulations. So that's something to work through in those early parenting stages.
It sure is. It's funny you brought that up. My wife said, you stay up with her because my first daughter, she had colic and she could not go to sleep.
Yeah.
She would stay up and she said, you deal with her. You keep her, you get her up. And I did that.
Yeah.
Here's what I want to ask you.
Yeah.
Because I hear this at work. A lot of single people are talking. And I'm married. Say I'm on a team. It's like a team of 12. And pretty much everybody around me is single. And they will ask me questions. How do you keep your marriage spicy? Marquez, do you still go out? Do you still date? Because a lot of single people have the perspective that marriage is boring. They see it. They see like married couples are not always like they were in the very beginning. And this is what I said to myself, and I'm ready to ask you about this. I said within myself, and I brought it up to them. I said, this is not fair. It's not fair for you to have that perception because you said it. Look, we pay bills together. We have kids together. We're doing life together.
Yeah.
And I know y'all saw the movie Notebook, but that's edited. My marriage, my life is an unedited version of who we really are. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on that? Where not all, but some single people kind of shine away from marriage right now because they feel like watching some other marriages that it's just boring. It's not exciting enough.
I think that, not to be disrespectful, that's a little immature to think, right? So it's easy when it's spicy. Everything, everything. And when you have a new job, the first 3 months is amazing because you're like, whoa, I got a new job, everything's good. But then it hits and you're like, oh, my real responsibilities kick in. Do I still like my job now? So really the encouragement in that is that in the mundane, that's where you know if your marriage is good or not. Like when it's nothing, when you're just like, listen, we're just around in sweats, we're doing anything. If you're still comfortable, if you still have that connection in that normalcy, then you have a real healthy marriage, because if you're sitting there and there's nothing to do and you're just like, well, I don't know what to do, that's not a connection with your partner. And if you're always having to do something, you have to ask yourself why you two being alone is not enough.
I think that's very key. And that shows that you have a healthy relationship. Like you said, you started out as your friend. He's your best friend. And you guys just being in each other's presence, watching TV, doing what you got to do. One highlight funny moment of you and your relationship with your husband on a YouTube short when you watching your favorite show and he ain't paying attention to it. Then all of a sudden he started getting into the show more than you.
That is always what happens. Like we both watch documentaries, but when it comes to TV, he's very much sports. I'm more reality show, so anytime I'm watching a talk show, judge show, reality show, he's kind of like, oh, you and your shows. But then he'll kind of be like, what? They fighting? So he'll know what it is. He just doesn't want to admit it, but it's okay.
All right. Here's the next question. How do you keep your marriage spicy?
Spicy. Oh gosh, I don't know if it is spicy, but lukewarm. No, I just think that you have to be spontaneous. So yeah, it is mundane, right? So you can't always do the same thing. I get that you may have a favorite spot or something, but it's just, and people, this works for some people. For me, it doesn't work to say, oh, every Tuesday, let's go to Papa Do's and do this. That's kind of boring. So I think if you rotate, if you say, let's try this place out, let's try this place out. Hey, don't make plans on Friday because I'm taking you somewhere. And that's it. Tell them how to dress and all that stuff and just surprise them with an experience. And I think things like that will keep it kind of fresh and keep it kind of new. And then you're dating, because when people get married, I think they forget to date. And you have to continually date because that's kind of what keeps it fresh and new.
Yes, I agree with that, especially being spontaneous. So right before we went live, I was laying in the bed and my wife said, "You ready to go live?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "What's going on?" I said, "My thighs feel a little tight." And she was like, "Well, it's the chair at work, huh?" And she came, sat in the bed and just talked to me and was just pushing on my thighs, applying pressure.
Mhm.
And out of nowhere, she just started laughing and talking about something. And she had the most genuine smile. And I just cut her
Of
off
course.
and I just kissed her. And it's just, I feel like spontaneous, those spontaneous moments, they
Absolutely.
really, really, really highlight who you are as a person. And I think the biggest thing, and you can share what you want to share on this, and we're going to move on to adulting because I want to get into that. I feel like media, TV, music, the perception, they call them couple goals, married goals. At one
Uh,
point, everybody was saying, I want to be like Kevin Gates and Drika because they would just had this image of the marriage was
yeah.
everything. Some people say, you know what, I want to be like Cardi B and Offset. You know what,
Yeah,
I want to
yeah.
be like Jay-Z and Beyonce. I want to be like, and then they start seeing that even those celebrities, they start having
For
trouble and
sure.
challenges in
For
their
sure.
marriage. But I feel like media, the edited version of life, make us think that we're missing out, but we don't see who they are when the
For
cameras are
sure.
off.
For sure. Absolutely. I think that even with, even with social media highlights or something like that, you should never think that something is perfect. All couples fight, all couples have disagreements, all couples have their ups and downs. Now, it's, how frequent does it happen is the question, but really don't worry about couple goals. You don't really know the couple anyway. So what goal are you trying to chase? The social media highlight of them? That's
Yes,
unrealistic. So just worry about your goals. What are your goals as a couple? Let's work on our communication. Let's work on our finances. Let's work on, ourselves physically. Let's work out, whatever the case may be. So have goals for yourself, but don't look externally at other people's goals. That's like keeping up with the Joneses. That's never going to happen.
yes, you're right about that. We're getting ready to move on to adulting. And what I like about what you said is chase your purpose.
Mm-hmm.
You said in one of your videos that you did not go to college to find a man or find a husband. You went to
No,
college to get an education and you were chasing your purpose. But what I love that you said, that you was open enough. You wasn't so closed off that you was only
for sure.
focusing on your career. You
Right.
actually opened up that door and made room just in case somebody else, and you did that. And here's what
Right.
else I learned. I loved about what you said before we move on. You said as you open up yourself to the man, which is your husband, you said you saw real good quality traits in him.
For sure. For
That was
sure.
so refreshing because in our society, especially for those 20 and 30 years old, they only look at the outer appearance and they overlook those traits. Not everybody, but I see that a lot. My daughter, she's 13. Oh, daddy, he's so cute. What else about him? Oh, he's tall. What else about him? She's only focusing on the external. She's like, Daddy, can I
yeah.
text a boy? No. She looked at me. She said, what age? What age can I text? I said, it's not about an age that you're texting a boy. I said, when you are emotionally ready. Because
Yeah.
right now your emotions all over the place. You're not ready to text a
All
boy.
over the place.
You don't even know what you want. And I use my daughter as an example. Like you said, you don't want to offend anybody, but I think sometimes immaturity kick into us as we're adults and we don't value the big picture.
No, that's very true. I think that one thing about my husband, like, listen, looks are important to me. Okay. So
Yes,
I have to be with you day in, day out. So,
of course.
yes, I was attracted. I'm not going to act like I just closed my eyes and picked.
Right, right,
No,
right.
I was absolutely attracted to him, but it's college. Like, we're all broke. We don't have a job. I was giving him rides to places.
Yes,
I think I paid some bills. Like, I had 3 jobs in college, so our situations were just different, but we were helping each other out. We were friends. So it was the qualities beyond what you see. Because the problem is
exactly.
you want to see the man at 45, you want to get him when he's 45. Let me know when you make 6 figures and let me know when you have this kind of car.
Yes,
Well, are you going to help him build to that? Because then what value did you add to his life? You're just going to, are you a leech? Like, are you just going to leech on to his success? No, you help build him up. And that's a fine line because, when is it a deadbeat? And then when is it a guy with qualities? And that's when you just have to pray about it and say, okay, Lord, like, what's going on? But I saw his drive. I saw his
yes.
leadership. I saw his drive. I saw his willingness to be like, no, I'm going to overcome these obstacles. So he did not settle for less. And I said, you know what? Those are great qualities. And we'll just see where this goes.
Yes, I love that. So if you're watching this right now, we see so many of you are watching. If you have any questions, please ask those questions right now in the comment. I'm looking at your comments. We're going to get to it. We want to hear from you. We want you to interact with us. Any question you have, we would love for you to ask. And I hope this segment of the interview of us talking about marriage, I hope you got something from it that'll help you as you're pursuing. And I want you to be encouraged in this time and season and follow your path, follow what's in your heart that God has placed in your heart. Don't be afraid, because I feel like right now in this time and season, it's so much fear. I'm afraid of this. I'm afraid of losing. I'm afraid of losing my house. I'm afraid I'm going to get rejected. I'm afraid. Don't be afraid. Just open yourself up. Don't open yourself so much to where you're just desperate, but open up yourself enough where you can see the qualities and the traits of someone else. Hope. Here's what I've been wanting to get to. Adulting. I love your video on adulting, how to adult 2023, about 20 years old, 30-year-olds, just
Yeah.
people in general. What inspired you to talk about that and create content and just put that out there to the public?
Goodness, that was not, I stumbled upon it. Let me not say it was a mistake. I stumbled upon it. So I started YouTube like a long time ago, maybe like 10 plus years ago or something, just to help other women who are text laxed. Because at the time, people were going natural or they had relaxed hair. And I said, I kind of like both. I like the in between. I'm teaching people how to get the best of both worlds. So my whole channel was about all things text laxed hair. And then it just so happened that I just went natural. I went natural and I was like, I'm sick of text laxing. I'm too lazy for all this. So I went natural, and then I was like, oh, my channel is about text laxing. What do I do? So it literally I took a break. I was like, I don't know what to do on this channel anymore. So that happened as I was getting married, as I was having kids. And so I was like, it's not, I'm more than just hair. I know people tell you to niche down and all that good stuff, but I was just more than hair. And I was like, well, if people are going to roll with me, they're just going to have to know about my life, and let's do journey of adulting together, because I don't know what I'm doing. So let's just work through it together. And then that's where I came up with marriage, motherhood, hair, and life, because I wanted to keep hair just in case, I have followers who still know me from the text lax days, but that marriage and motherhood, I think that's so important because people are scared of marriage. I don't think it should be that we have more mothers than wives, but that's a whole nother topic. But
wow.
I just think that, the marriage is so important because so many people are talking about it who aren't married or who have different values than what should be. And I'm like, no, let's get another perspective in there that's godly, that's relatable. Cause I get it. Some people are like, well, I'm not Susie Homemaker. I'm not either, but we're just following God and doing the best we can. So that, and then when it comes to motherhood, just raising kids without, for lack of a better term, being corny about it and just realistic. Let's raise you up right, but just knowing that I'm still who I am and I'm going to be, your mother with my personality, and then just life in general about the random things that happen throughout the day.
Yes. And I think that's very key. And then, you work together. Like with me and my wife, we had a lot of challenges, but my grandmother raised me, like I stated, and my dad was on drugs. So literally, I'm going to paint the picture real brief. In the home I was living in with my grandmother, we had to put chains on the refrigerator so my dad wouldn't take the food out.
Oh, wow.
We would have to lock each door. I had to lock the door in my room, lock the door in the other room, lock the door in the guest room, lock the door in my grandmother's room, because he was still my grandmother's wedding ring. Wow. He would do all of that. And so this is me as a single guy, teenager, growing up in this my whole life. So I started learning about codependency. My grandmother was codependent, and she was trying to save her son. And her son never took responsibility for his actions. I forgive my dad for it. I've cried. I laid in his arm. We had a real conversation about it, and he had personal problems that he could not overcome to be my dad. And I just cried and laid in his arm one day, and I said, bro, all I want you to be my dad. And I respect him for this. He said, I can't be your dad, but I can be your friend.
Oh, wow. That's deep. Wow.
Yes. And so he was just honest, like he couldn't be a father to me. And so we became friends. I didn't never call him dad. I called him by his first name, Lane. And it wasn't no disrespect. We played basketball together, but it's a very unique dynamic relationship. What happened? That caused me to be very independent. So now in my marriage, when my wife is always doing things for my kids, I step in and I help them to be independent. And now my wife sees it to where they're not codependent and depending upon. Now they're making their own food. They're doing their own thing. They taking care of things. They went outside and bathed the dogs without anybody's permission. They're independent. They're finding themselves. But awesome. I think that my wife's background, with her dad being a pastor, her mom, they married, she got a brother, less dysfunctional than mine. It works together. Yeah. And I think that's the key. Last part. A guy asked me one time, how do you be married for so long? I'm living with my wife. We're struggling. I want to know what is some stuff you can tell me. And I said, you know what? Humility. I said, in a lot of cases, you just have to humble yourself
You're right.
in the marriage
You're right.
and just be humble and connect with your partner. You have
Oh,
any thoughts
true.
on that?
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so this is going to be weird, but I want to go back. Why did you lock the refrigerator? Like, what would he take from the refrigerator?
All the large catfish, my grandmother would go to Sam's Club and buy
Yeah,
expensive shrimp, big boxes of shrimp, and she'll spend $30, $40 on catfish, and he
yeah.
would take all of it and sell it for drugs.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. That was just intriguing to me. I was like, hold on, refrigerator. Why? Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
with a
Golly,
with a
that's an addiction.
chain, with a chain and a lock.
That is such wow.
And
Wow.
the reason why I brought that up, Hope, because that was something that never was discussed.
Hmm.
And as an elder, I'm like, man, these are the things that's affecting you.
Right. For sure.
And
How
I
could it not?
right. And I had to acknowledge it to overcome it so I wouldn't be like my dad, have a level
Hmm.
of respect for them. I
Hmm.
never dishonored my dad, but that has helped me as a man today. And in my marriage and my life, I'm more grounded, laid back, and humble because of
Yeah.
those challenging experiences.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of humility, so you said that's you said
Yes.
how you your question was how do you what live together amicably in a marriage?
Yeah. And what's your perspective on that? Being humble in the marriage with your spouse
I think
as an
that
elder.
that's key. That's biblical. That's being selfless and putting others before self. And that's literally what a marriage is. It's not about what I want to do. If you both are working to please the other basically, then that's how it works. It's like, okay, well, let me not do this because I just want to do it. It's okay, what do you need to do? How can I help you? I'm literally we're just serving each other. That's what we do. We
Yes.
serve each other. And because he's looking out for me, because I'm looking out for him, we're being selfless in that way. And we're trusting each other more because we're like, you know what, you really do have my best interest. And that's really just how the love grows, how the trust grows, and how we continue to work together.
That's really good insight. Hope here's another question about
Uh-huh.
adulting, and we can continue to connect to marriage because we're talking about it. But someone struggling like my dad, or other people that you may know, or people you've seen in life, and just met has a background that we really don't understand what they've been through. Is true traumatic for
Yeah.
them to really discuss it, but it has caused them not to take responsibility for their actions. It's like the world is out to get them. You hating on me, it's your fault, and they're really not taking responsibility as an adult for their own behavior. Do you have any insight? What would you say that can help someone take responsibility of their own action as an adult?
I just think, and it's hard because a lot of adults don't do that, but really you just have to know who the common denominator is. Like if all of your relationships are going the same way, if I say, oh yeah, no one gets me, everybody treats me like this, everybody, that's odd. So you're the common denominator. So you act a certain way, and that's how you're getting the reaction that you're getting. So it's really important. And I think that's just a level of maturity that people have to get to be introspective and be like, you know what? I went off on her today. Was I even right for that?
Yes.
should I have even done that? And that's something that I had to do. Like I used to, I could pop off all I want to in college, but as you grow, you're like, yeah, I shouldn't have wrote that email.
Yeah, yeah.
So let me now circle back. And then with that comes learning how to apologize. It's not a sign of weakness.
Mm,
It really is easy. And people are so forgiving, more forgiving than if you just say, I'm sorry. Most of the time, I get more frustrated when someone tries to cover up, tries to make an excuse, tries to lie about it, instead of just saying, you know what, my bad. And I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, you messed up. It's cool. But people have such a problem saying it's my fault. I messed up because they think they have to be perfect. If you show that you were wrong, then I'm not as smart. I'm not as, competent as you think or something. And I think that perception is what keeps them lying. So
yes,
for
I
the
agree.
person, they just have to, you just have to come to terms with yourself and just realize, hey, do you want better relationships with people? If you do, you have to be more accountable. You have to hold yourself to a certain standard, and other people will as well.
I like that. I like that, Hope. I definitely relate to that. Definitely keeping yourself accountable. How do you keep adulting fun?
You know what? I don't know. I just don't think sometimes I wake up and I'm like, they actually let me have kids. Like, what? like, because I feel like to think of how long ago, high school or college was, I'm like, really? It was that long? You just feel still young because I never take myself that seriously. Yes, I have goals and yes, I achieve different things, but maybe because of my upbringing, because we just always had to turn lemons into lemonade. You just always find some silver lining in something. So anything that happens, whether it's bad, you can have a flat tire, I'll find something funny about it and I'll just laugh to myself and call it a day. So really always finding the blessing in the mess is how you can keep it fun. And I know that's hard. I mean, my dad passed away in 2020, but we still had laughs all the way to the funeral. We laugh about it today, different things that happened. Like, you remember that man who did this? Why would he say this? And it was sad. It's not like you don't have feelings, but through it all, if you can find those silver linings, if you can find the grace that happens in the mess and even in the grief, then that's how you can keep it lighthearted still. And keep your sanity.
Oh man, I think it's required. Like you say, it really is, to keep your sanity. It's really good. The reason why I asked that, because I think sometimes I see it, I hear it on social media, people just feel like giving up and life is not fun anymore. I noticed the difference. I'm not saying it's a stroke of ego or she-go or whatever, but I just get on social media sometimes and I see other platforms and other pages. But when I get on your page, it's always fun all around. The seriousness is always fun. It's always laughter. You just draw me in. You're saying something so serious. I'm like, oh, I need to write this down. And boom, you say something funny. I'm like, I can't have time to write it down. Why is she making me laugh? And I think that's
very
really
much.
key.
I appreciate that. I really do. I just think that, I mean, to encourage others is what I love to do, and I don't encourage it in the, typical way of, oh, I'm a motivational speaker. No, just encourage you knowing that, hey, we all go through this, but you'll be fine. Like, I go through it, you go through it, you'll be fine. You're not alone in what you're doing. And that's what I hope to highlight on my page, is just the relevancy of what people feel. And then, yes, it can happen, but it also has a little humor in it as well.
It does. Go to YouTube. Those that are watching right now, I'm gonna put the link in the description. Hope said it. If you just feel like, you know what, I'm about to act up, just go to Hope said it. I'm just telling you, when you just need to hear something serious and laugh at the same time, so you can navigate that.
That is tough.
And what I love about it is that sometimes, for me, when I first became a Christian, I would preach to everybody. Now I've learned to mature. Since I've matured, just live your life. People see Christ in you.
Oh, for sure.
They see that light in you. They don't even know what it is. Why are you so happy all the time? Why? And it's something about you. You living your life in God and you're being honest and real. They just draw to you. So I think that's key.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. We're going to talk about narcissism.
Okay.
Popular word. Narcissist is a buzzword. It is so popular, and it's a word that comes out. It's so many different meanings. One time on my Facebook, I posted it. Somebody said, I'm just tired of that word narcissist. Everything is a narcissist. Everything is a narcissist. Everybody ain't no narcissist, but it's a real deep word. And even scripturally, it talks about how in the last days, people will become lovers of themselves.
Oh, for sure.
And they will literally worship themselves. But what does that word mean to you? Narcissist? Narcissism. What does that mean to you? When you hear it, what do you think of?
When I think of narcissism, I think of someone who is so insecure that they spend their time hyping themselves up while bringing others down. And that's what they live to do. That's if that makes sense. But yeah, I just think of people who, when you're secure in yourself, you don't have, like, there's some things where it's like, I don't even have an answer for that, and it's fine. Or someone could say, you're stupid. Okay. But I think if a narcissist has that same thing, they will really, go and wind down around, no, I'm not stupid. I did this and that and this and prove this, and then start making up that they're a Nobel Peace Prize winner. It's just too much. They do the most to keep some kind of perception while putting you down. And that's the weird part, like literally putting you down, and they know who they can put down. If you're secure in yourself, they're going to leave you alone, but they're going to find the person who's kind of, oh, you look like a wounded bird. Oh, what happened in your childhood? I'll use that. And then they'll hype you up and bring you down at the same time while trying to elevate themselves.
That is so key. It brings so much to me. Even when I was sharing you about my past, when I was
Mhm.
wounded, I drawed those narcissists. But when I
Mm,
started acknowledging and healing and on my healing journey, and not just quoting scripture, not just shouting in church, but
right,
truly inner work,
right.
truly, I mean, God had already touched me, saved me, my heart would change, but it was all of this stuff I got to work through.
Wow.
And nobody couldn't do the work for me. I had to do the work for
Mm-mm,
myself. And I
mm-mm.
think that's a very great definition of a narcissist. So if you're watching this and you're saying, how can I make it simple? Just know that the narcissist is definitely insecure and they always have to put you down. Okay, Hope,
Yes.
how can someone spot a narcissistic type person?
How can someone spot a narcissist? I think that it's hard because, like I said, they're insecure, but they're gonna hype themselves up. So you'll never know. They'll probably come off as like very confident. You won't really know until you really have conversations that, oh my goodness, you're very insecure. I think the way
Mhm.
you can spot them is how much they point conversations back to themselves.
Yes.
So if something will be about something totally different. It could be about, someone else, but they'll be like, I can't believe they did that to me. They probably
Yes.
did this. I'm like, what? You? Like, no, this is her grandma we're talking about. What are you talking about? So just the way it kind of always all roads leads back to them. It's kind of one eyebrow up about that. And also, the way they try to show their confidence, I think, especially in dating
Mm.
relationships. And I haven't personally experienced this. I just heard other people talk about this, of the love bombing and, all the gaslighting and the doing the most in the beginning that looks like love. And oh my gosh, he's so enamored with me. But that's because he just wants to like envelop you so that
Yes.
you don't see left from right, and then he can go ahead and make you insecure and make you his little pet that he keeps and batters and manipulates. So unfortunately that's kind of what I've heard.
And that's very key because I've noticed that same exact thing that you said, and you notice it when you're in the workplace. You notice it when you just out talking. If you just pay
Yes.
attention, especially with dating. If you're dating, ladies and guys, if you're dating someone and they don't ask you anything about you,
Oh my gosh.
yeah, nothing about you the
Yes.
whole time. They ask you no questions about your life. They have
No.
no interest in
No.
yourself. I mean, that's very key. Here's something I wanna bring up. I've noticed that self care is also camouflage, but the narcissists use the self-care as a way to camouflage their narcissism. Now, I want to make this clear for those who are watching. You want to take care of yourself.
Oh, for sure.
Self-care is priority. You have to be healthy. You can't do anything for anyone else if you don't do it for yourself first. You are first. But when you use that as a way to neglect, dismiss, and just put everybody else down, at that point, it's not self-care.
Not at
It's
all.
it's not self-care. You want to be able to be there for someone, and there's no need to put anybody down. There's no need to, put this person down to lift yourself up. If you're in a dialogue, you're in a conversation, just have a conversation. Just let the conversation go natural. And I feel like if you're watching this right now and you're dating and you're afraid to get married because you don't want to marry a narcissist, I don't want to marry the wrong person. I don't want to be with the wrong person. Just listen to that conversation. You ask them questions and see what kind of question they ask you. What are your thoughts on that, Hope?
I think you're absolutely right. The thing about it is I get that people are so scared, but everything in life has risks. And as long as you do your due diligence, you'll know what you're doing. And really, it's taking the time to listen. People will tell you about themselves. It's if you believe it or not. And that's the whole thing. A lot of the times you'll see the same thing. Oh my gosh, he doesn't even know my favorite color. How did you date for 2 years and he doesn't know your favorite color?
Yes.
You see the patterns, you're ignoring it. So just make sure you really take a step back. You ask your friends, like, what do you think? What's going on? Not that they're the number one opinion, but just seeing that, because every time someone I know I have known has gotten out of a narcissist relationship, it has been like, the girl, he kind of kept you in the corner. Like, did you not know you weren't talking to
Yes.
us anymore? So just
Yes.
make sure that everything is in check and that about the person. I think a narcissist will be so much about you and get you to share all of the information, and then you don't even know about them. So make sure you know about them. You know their childhood. You know everything they're doing. When you ask about the day, they actually give substantive, information about the day. And just making sure that you crossed all your T's and dotted all your I's about it as well.
When they show you who they are, believe them. My
Absolutely.
Angelo. My Angelo. I think that's very key. And I think one of the strategies I've been in a lot of different relationships with narcissists because of the codependency. I'm not
Mm,
talking about romantic relationships. I'm talking about a codependent always want to rescue somebody.
hmm.
I want to save you because see, it's something lacking with the codependent, and it makes them feel valued if they
Right.
save somebody or help somebody. I got to
Hmm.
help you. I mean, helping someone, even when they don't want your help or don't need your help, you feel like you got to save them. And then it creates this whole dynamic to where you're
Hmm.
there for them, you're there for them, you're there for them, you're there for them, you helping, you helping. The narcissists love that. And you're trying to help this person, you're neglecting yourself. And then you're tired, you're exhausted. They don't support you, they don't help you. Now
There
you're in
you
this
go.
mindset of, they don't love me, they don't support me. The narcissist did this, they did this, but that's that codependency.
Yeah.
If you thinking that this person is not supporting me, take a step back. Don't give all of yourself. Just give a one or two drops and see what they do with that.
No, that's very true. I mean, I think it's just very important to know yourself. Once you're comfortable in yourself, you can't be a target for narcissists, so you have to be
Yes.
comfortable with yourself. If you had, especially, middle school is a tough place, high school is a tough place. But once you start growing and knowing yourself and being like, hey, here's who I am. Yeah, I'm a little quirky, I'm a little weird, who cares? And not caring about what everybody else thinks, then when a narcissist comes and tells you anything, you're like, okay, who cares? Whatever. And they'll leave you alone. So just make sure you're comfortable. Because when I tell you they latch on to that insecurity, they can smell it a mile away. So just learn how to be secure, learn how to up your self-esteem and have confidence in who you are and whose you are. And then they'll leave you alone and you'll only attract the good.
I think that's very key, and you'll have that introspective and don't focus so much on the external because I've seen a
Yeah.
lot of narcissistic type people. They are pleasure seeking
Mm.
and they will cause you to get wrapped up in the pleasure seeking. And it starts very subtle. Would you like some popcorn covered with chocolate and caramel? They like that sensation they get. They don't just want popcorn. They want popcorn with chocolate
Huh.
and caramel all on it.
I
And
didn't
it's
know that.
something so small, they'll get you wrapped up in it. Then they'll get you right when to go to the movies. And if you notice, they're always superficial, and everything that satisfies them is external, nothing
Hmm.
internal. Like you stated, just laying in the bed, talking to your husband, just
Yeah.
connecting, just being with each other.
Right.
You like the external, but you gotta have that internal,
For sure.
that
For
intimate
sure.
connection, that dialogue where it's not AI all day. I gotta
For
have
sure.
some human connection and not just AI. So Hope, we get
Right.
ready to close out. I don't want to keep you too long. You
Oh,
shared a
you're
lot
fine.
of insight. I want to know right now before we close out, what is something that's on your mind that's really big in your heart, that's really big in your spirit, that you just may want to just share right now? They're watching, they're listening. People are going to be watching the replay and they can hear what you're saying right now and it just lift them up and inspire them. What's one of the biggest things on your heart right now this time?
Goodness, that's a good question. Like, what's in my heart? Um,
Yes.
what's on my heart is what's on my heart is this is gonna be real. I'm not even a churchy kind of person, okay?
Okay.
But what's on my heart it just came to me is that holiness is still right. And I'll explain that. Not necessarily saying, oh, skirts to your, shoes and everything like that, but I just want people to know that you can still hold yourself in a certain way, not worrying about what the culture is doing. Because I know music is crazy and lyrics are crazy and things are going, crazy, but it's okay to have a standard. It's okay to say, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not saying that. I'm not wearing that, and I think that if you stay grounded in yourself and stop swaying with the culture, like I'm grounded in myself. So I don't care what song comes on. I don't care what the fashion is. I'm like, that's not me. Y'all
Yes.
have
I love
fun. I'm
that.
going to skip that round. But I think, especially for the young people, especially with social media, especially with the pressure you have just from beauty standards and the culture and TV shows and everything like that, it's just important to know that, hey, it's okay. You are enough. And just because other people are doing it, just because the culture is changing, you're not crazy. It is getting
Yes,
louder and you don't have to take part in it.
I agree with that. Thank you, Hope, for sharing that. I want everybody watching the re-air, go to Hope said it. You're gonna enjoy
Thank
it.
you so much.
Before we close out, you're welcome, Hope. Before we close out, I want to share what's on my heart. The biggest thing on my heart right now is integration. What I mean by that, don't live your life by yourself. Don't
Mm,
isolate to where you just driving your own self crazy. Healthy isolation is good when you need me time, all those things, but it always is a balance. With a narcissistic type personality, it's extreme. They don't make room for other people, and when they do, it's only for personal gain.
mhm.
Take interest in other people. Don't be so consumed with your problem. I noticed that has helped a lot in ministry, in business, and in personal life. You want to take yourself seriously, but you don't want to take yourself too seriously. Listen to somebody else. Ask other people about them and feel integrated. You
For
don't
sure.
have to do it by yourself. And I think that's the key. And when I say feel integrated, it's like a mental picture that you have that you are a part of something else and you're not by yourself.
Absolutely.
This is a good picture because sometimes I've seen it in my own life. I've seen it in life of my minister friends and pastors. I've seen ministers burnt out, want to quit, throw it in the towel because their focus on building their ministry, not on serving people, not on being there for others. So it's a balance. You don't want to go to the extreme where you codependent, and then you don't want to go to the extreme where you're narcissistic. You want to find yourself somewhere in the middle where you love yourself enough that you take care of you and you're healthy. But then you want to be healthy enough to be able to share with someone else. And if you feel integrated, I promise you, you're going to get a lot of more results. I'm a part of a YouTube group, Hope, and
Yeah.
I had some wins on my YouTube channel. And I posted in the YouTube group, and I didn't say, "Look, y'all, look at my views went up. Look at my subscribers." I shared what happened, what was the accomplishment, what was the milestone, and I told everybody in the group. I said, "I did not accomplish this by myself. I accomplished this with you, this whole group."
That's
Because
awesome.
the things that they were sharing in the group about how you do your thumbnail, how you should do this, how you should do
Gotcha.
that. And I noticed when I'm YouTubing by myself, I don't get the same response, but I'm in this YouTube group and everybody's just talking what's working. They're sharing their wins. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to post another
Gotcha.
video because you just getting the mode. Like, I ain't posting no more. I'm tired. I ain't posting. And then
Forget
somebody
y'all
post,
too.
yeah, forget you. So I just want to encourage you, whatever that means to you, whatever that means to you, integrate, think about it. Think about what community you can be a part of, what Facebook group you can be a part of, whatever you're
That's
doing
so
in your
good.
life. What type of group can you be a part of? Maybe a group for moms, maybe a group for dads, maybe it's a biker club group, maybe it's a reading club. I don't know. Just integrate with something that's healthy and not diminishing who you are. And I promise you, I believe you're gonna feel the whole life. I really
That's so
believe that.
good. That really is because I just know that a lot of people are hurt, you know. There's a lot of things that happen. There's just a lot of trauma that people have, you know, whether it's church hurt or infidelity or my friend just, you know, left me. Whatever the case may be, people are hurt, and when you're hurt, the tendency is that's never going to happen to me again. You just see, and you have some huge wall up around you. And so that's great that you're like, yeah, integrate, get over it, heal from it, and say, okay, that was that one instance. That doesn't mean everybody's going to do that to me, because what's happening is you're just hurting yourself. Like, yes, they hurt you, but then you're just hurting yourself because you're not living life to its fullest. You're now being a hermit and guarding yourself to the joys that life could bring you.
Absolutely. And it's like you said, knowing who you are and being integrated, knowing who you are in yourself and being secure, like
Exactly.
you already stated, that's going to help you to integrate. But can we say trust issues with the
Yeah,
trauma, the hurt, trust issues? And that's normal. And I get it. When someone do something to you, you say, you know what, like Hope just said, you ain't gonna ever do this again. But
but
just remember, it's a balance. It's just a balance. And only you can find out what that balance is to you. I can't
exactly.
dictate to you what that is to you. Your pastor, nobody, no teacher. You have to find that balance within yourself, and then that balance may change. So I hope you guys were blessed on tonight. Hope, thank you so much for
Thank you so much
joining
for having
me.
me. You're awesome.
You're welcome. You're awesome. I feel good. We integrated. We connected. I like going on Hope page. I like talking about her life. I know you probably getting nervous. Like, what kind of question he gonna ask me about my marriage? I said, I ain't gonna do.
What are we
Let me ask
talking
you.
about?
Yeah. And I know it's funny, but I did my research. I just didn't want to just
You
talk from
absolutely
the side of.
did.
I want to know who you are. That's the important. Who is Hope? And I think if we do that, we'll open ourselves up, and you never know why God bring people in your life.
Awesome. You did an amazing job. Thank you so much. I appreciate
Thank
you.
you. Hope have a good night, yo.
All
Those
right,
that
you
are
too. Bye,
watching,
everyone.
have a good night. Bye.